I would like to talk about my Zen practice. I'm remembering my Zen teacher, Abbot Catherine Thanos, and my other Zen teacher, Sojin Mel Weitzman. They both passed away a while ago. I just want to talk about what these two Zen teachers have imparted to me. One of the things Sojin Mel Weitzman Roshi said was that a sage is an ordinary person and an ordinary person is a sage. And this means a lot to me because it reminds me to return to neutral things again and again. What I'm finding in my meditation is that I get to places where I feel like I don't need to do anything more to be complete, and that I'm complete in myself the way that I am. For instance, like I'll oftentimes try to read a certain number of pages per day. I read at least one page from each of 7 books, and then I try to read more of, I'll pick one after that to read more of that book. And then I also study foreign language on the computer program called Rosetta Stone. And I try to give myself these chores, and I feel like I have to complete these chores in order to be complete. But then what's really true is that these aren't really necessary. They're not really that important. These tasks are not really that important. So being able to realize that I don't need anything more than what I currently have is becoming a sage. And anyone can do this, and we all do this from time to time, but it's good to do this more and more if we can. That's what enlightenment is seeing that you're complete. And then when one person can see this for themselves, they can help other people see it for themselves. In addition to Abbot Catherine Thanos, who has passed away, and Sojin Mel Weitzman Roshi, who has passed away, I've had other Zen teachers as well. Myogen Steve Stuckey was another Zen teacher who had me write down on a piece of paper everything I know about Zen. He said, write 1 page about everything I know about Zen and hand it in to him. And I think that at that time I wasn't ready, and I didn't have a good explanation. But I think that now that some years have gone by and I'm more mature Zen-wise, that I could give a much better explanation of what I think Zen is if I were to write 1 page about what I think Zen is and turn it into Myogen Steve Stuckey. But he has passed away, so I can't turn in a paper to him. I missed a meditation meeting on Sunday. There was a Zoom meeting, a Zen meditation Zoom meeting that I missed on Sunday. I'm finding that I have to censor what I say at work. I would like to say more things about UFOs and stuff like that at work, but obviously you have to not talk about that kind of stuff while you're at work as much. I recently found that someone I followed named Peter Brown has had a lot of his lectures, his audio and video lectures posted on his website, theopendoorway.org. So he recently posted more audio and video files on his website of him giving spiritual talks about what he calls the radiant presence. I would like to I've been writing a book with a friend, and I would like to talk about my understanding of Tibetan Buddhism in the book, which is a rudimentary understanding. I know a little bit about Tibetan Buddhism, and I enjoy doing the practices so much that I would like to write about it in this book that we're writing. It's funny how I can go from being so at peace with the universe at one point in a day, and then later in the day have a lot of anxiety, and then go back to being totally at peace with the universe. And it's so funny how this process takes place. And I guess there's ultimately no reason why I can't always be totally at peace with the universe, and be engaged in my life in the world, interacting with people, and just be totally at peace with the universe throughout the whole day while I'm interacting with people and going about my business. There's no reason why I can't. I've been off of alcohol for, I think it's like 33 days or 34 days or something like that. So I'm much more lucid because of that than I was before. And ultimately, a lot of my questions don't need to be answered. I can just rest in the Rigpa. Yeah, when I get proud of myself for achieving certain things, that's okay, as long as I know that there's infinitely more. As long as I know that there's infinitely more to achieve, there's always infinitely more to achieve, and I'll never be. Well, I can reach completion stage in meditation. That's what it's called in Tibetan Buddhism. Generation stage is the stage before, and then completion stage is the second phase of meditating. So I'm going to try to explain my understanding of Tibetan Buddhism, which is a rudimentary understanding, but I'm going to put it into everyday language as much as I can in this book that I'm writing. So I'm going to explain Trekcho and Togal, Dzogchen, the 6 Yogas of Naropa, Tumo, Phowa. I have to study and read up on these things. I don't have very many books about Tibetan Buddhism, but the ones that I've read have been extremely influential in my life. I'm very interested in tantric practices, specifically in Tibetan Buddhism. the left-hand path, they call it. This person I followed, the spiritual teacher named Peter Brown, who gave lectures, spiritual talks, satsangs at Open Secret Bookstore in San Rafael. He has a very much more mature take on Tibetan Buddhism, which is more compatible with Western society. He talks about Essentially, he talks about Dzogchen, which is a form of Tibetan meditation, and he talks about that in like more like everyday terms that an everyday person can understand. And he also has, I think, a more mature view of it than even what the Tibetans might have. It's absurd to me though that I can learn something like Dzogchen meditation and then actually forget something so incredibly important. It's like how could you forget something like that that's so like relevant to everything and like so incredibly uh it's so incredibly relevant to everything and so incredibly like poignant, I guess. And then I just forget it out of laziness or whatever, and then remember it again. It's such a weird thing. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm going to try to explain my understanding of Tibetan Buddhism in this book that I'm writing. So hopefully that'll amount to something. And that's all I want to say.